Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take the sources, the leaks, and the expensive research and distill it all into the knowledge you need delivered thoroughly and fast.
Exactly.
Today, we are undertaking a massive deep dive into a defining moment for the fictional town of Port Charles. We're talking about the highly anticipated and, well, tragically necessary storyline involving the death and subsequent funeral of the legendary Quartermaine matriarch, Monica Quartermaine. And we are going far beyond just a simple obituary here. We're really unpacking the dramatic machinations the writers have put in place to ensure her exit causes maximum glorious chaos.
Absolutely. And for you, the learner, who needs a swift and comprehensive understanding of this major pivot point, this deep dive is pretty essential. We are talking about decades of history converging here.
Right.
Monica's departure isn't just closing a chapter, it's like opening a new explosive volume. It's designed to deliver enormous plot shockers, reconnect classic characters, and, maybe most importantly, reignite the most infamous family feud in Port Charles history. The War for the Quartermaine Mansion. We'll really analyze how the writers are leveraging the real-world tragedy to generate some compelling fictional drama. It's quite something.
The whole narrative framework seems set for absolute upheaval. You've got the sad necessity of saying goodbye to Monica.
Yeah, that's the baseline.
Then you have the return of classic figures like the formidable Tracy Quartermaine.
Always ready for a fight.
And the jaw-dropping introduction of a brand new, totally unexpected arrival. We're talking soap opera royalty here, Erica Slizak.
Which is huge news in itself.
Huge. And the entire operation, it seems, hinges on the core conflict. This legal battle over that massive, iconic stone house, the Quartermaine estate.
That house.
That house is not just property, is it? It's like the ultimate symbol of the family's power, their wealth, and, well, their endless contention.
It truly is. I mean, to understand the gravity of this upcoming legal fight, you have to understand that losing the mansion, or even worse, seeing it fall into the hands of an outsider,
Yeah.
that's the ultimate unthinkable scenario for the established cues.
Especially Tracy.
Especially Tracy. It hits her right where she lives, literally and figuratively.
Okay, so let's begin by establishing the real-world foundation for this fictional crisis. It's important context.
Very important.
We really have to first address the somber necessity behind this storyline, which is, of course, the tragic passing of the actress Leslie Charleson. She played Monica Quartermaine for, nearly 5 decades?
An incredible run. 47 years, I believe. Just phenomenal.
And our sources confirm that Leslie passed away on January 12th of this year. The cause was primarily complications stemming from a severe head injury after a fall.
Right. And it's worth noting, sadly, that she had experienced several falls prior to this one. The writers were actually already kind of incorporating that into the narrative setup for Monica's character.
Which is interesting in itself, that real-world frailty feeding the story.
Exactly. That real-world context really dictates the entire production timeline for this. It's why the show had to move so quickly, but also, respectfully.
So Leslie Charleson's last pre-taped on-screen appearance as Monica actually aired way back in December 2023.
That's right. That's a crucial bit of timeline info.
And in those final scenes, the character of Monica was already portrayed as being wheelchair-bound.
Yeah, and that wasn't just arbitrary. The story explained it away as ongoing balance issues the character was facing. So this established weakness, this physical vulnerability, was really the critical narrative groundwork. It was laid months in advance for her eventual off-screen passing.
Makes sense. It prepares the audience, even subconsciously.
Completely.
And the production timeline, based on the leaks we're seeing, indicates that the show wasted relatively little time, though they obviously handled it privately and with care. We know the death itself and the subsequent on-screen funeral have already been filmed.
That's confirmed. It's in the can.
Now, traditionally, a storyline of this magnitude, a major character exit affecting the entire ensemble cast, you'd expect them to save that for sweeps, wouldn't you?
Oh, absolutely. That's prime sweeps material. For the learner who might not know the term, sweeps refers to specific months, usually February, May, July, and November, when Nielsen, the ratings company, heavily measures network viewership.
Right, the ratings that dictate ad rates.
Exactly. So soap operas, they hoard their biggest, most explosive storylines for those periods. Normally, you might expect Monica's funeral to anchor the big November sweeps, which this year runs from October 30th through November 26th. But the leaks strongly suggest the storyline is actually anticipated much sooner than that, like probably appearing on screen in the next 4 to 6 weeks.
That's soon. Why the rush, do you think?
Well, the urgency suggests they want to use this momentum, this major event, to drive current season ratings immediately rather than wait until November. Maybe capture that immediate viewer reaction and buzz.
Okay, that makes sense from a business perspective. Now, shifting to the fictional world, Port Charles itself, the writers have been meticulously setting the table for this event for a long time now.
Oh yeah, this wasn't sudden in story terms.
For the better part of 2 years, really, Monica herself has been largely absent from the screen, but her presence has been constant in the dialogue, hasn't it?
Constantly mentioned, she's been the elephant in the Quartermain living room, you know, frequently brought up by key characters, Jason, Michael, definitely Tracy.
And the running narrative thread, the reason given for her absence, has been that Monica has been progressively unwell, specifically sick, often bedridden.
Right. The character has been depicted as declining, which reinforces the plausibility of an off-screen death due to natural causes. This sustained narrative setup ensures her eventual exit doesn't feel abrupt or, unearned by the plot.
It feels organic to the story they've been telling.
Precisely.
And this extended period of illness also helps contextualize Tracy Quartermain's recent behavior, which has often seemed, well, frantic.
Very protective, almost overly so.
She's been actively portrayed as the gatekeeper, running what the writers apparently refer to as interference to minimize any stress on Monica.
We've heard Tracy dropping lines about Monica feeling a bit down or needing quiet, maybe not up for visitors, all of which now, in hindsight, reads as steady, deliberate foreshadowing of this looming crisis.
It paints Tracy in a slightly different light now, doesn't it? More caregiver than just antagonist.
For sure, it adds a layer of complexity to her character right before this storm hits.
So when it comes to the predicted manner of death, since Leslie Charleson isn't available, it has to occur off-screen. What's the expectation?
The expectation is that a family member finds her.
Yeah.
Most likely Tracy, given her proximity and that protective role she's taken on.
And the cause.
The overwhelming consensus from the sources is that it will be deemed natural causes, directly tied to these ongoing chronic illnesses they've established. The writers will probably opt for a peaceful death scenario, perhaps passing in her sleep, or maybe heart failure secondary to her condition, something quiet.
Why that route?
Well, it provides the family, and importantly the viewers, with a sense of necessary emotional closure. It feels respectful. But crucially, it also frees the writers to immediately pivot to the post-mortem drama.
Which is the Mansion War.
Which is, of course, the real heart of this story they want to tell now, the fallout.
Okay. Moving now from the tragic reality and the setup to the heightened reality of the memorial service itself, the leaks have provided some pretty critical information about the emotional centerpiece of the funeral.
Yes, this is significant.
It is confirmed that Monica's beloved adopted son, Jason Morgan, will be the one to deliver the eulogy for his mother.
That is a profoundly symbolic choice by the writers. It speaks volumes about where they currently place Jason in the Quartermain family hierarchy, despite decades of complications surrounding his identity and his adoption.
Remind us of that history quickly.
Sure. Monica adopted Jason, who was actually Alan Quartermain's biological son from an affair with Susan Moore. But Monica raised him as her own, fiercely defended him as her son, especially when the rest of the Qs rejected him for his mob ties later on. She was his champion.
So that distinction, that he is the adopted son delivering the eulogy, is critical.
Absolutely critical. It acknowledges that in Monica's eyes, Jason was arguably the most loyal child she had, blood or not.
And how is Jason expected to react?
Oh, he's expected to be absolutely devastated. The show has spent recent years really confirming that Jason is currently closer to the Quartermains than he has been in a very long time.
He's even been living there, right?
Exactly. He's been living under Monica's roof recently. So his loss feels immediate, intensely personal. He's right there in the aftermath.
Now contrast that deep connection, that sense of loyalty, with the potential for disruption, which naturally leads us to
Drew Kane Quartermain.
Of course. While the core leaks don't explicitly guarantee Drew will cause a scene at the funeral, the dramatic potential seems, well, too great for the writers to ignore, doesn't it?
It really does. It feels like a classic soap setup. You have to remember where Drew currently stands in this story.
Right. He's embroiled in that whole nefarious Sidwell plot.
Yeah, the corporate espionage thing where he was blackmailed into working against the family's interests. It's led him down a pretty dark path.
And the latest source info suggests Drew is actually scheduled to be attacked around this time frame.
Right. So if he survives that attack, which, we have to assume he will for future plot purposes.
He'll likely be recuperating somewhere.
Probably. And the irony here is just rich. If he's alive and recovering, Drew is still largely considered a pariah, an outcast among the Quartermaines right now, especially given his recent choices and that sort of erratic behavior under the influence of the blackmail.
So the speculation is.
The speculation is that the version of Drew we've kind of dubbed Terrible Drew could absolutely crash at the funeral. It fits.
Even if the family doesn't want him there.
Oh, especially if they don't want him there. It would be entirely in character for this current iteration of Drew to show up, maybe make a scene, perhaps challenge Jason's place, or lash out at Tracy. Just complicate things further for the grieving family and demand his own place in the mourning process, however inappropriate.
What's truly fascinating here, then, is the deliberate contrast the writers seem to be creating.
It's very stark.
You have Jason, the loyal adopted son, the stoic one, delivering this genuine, heartfelt eulogy, solidifying his stature as the family anchor in a moment of crisis.
Representing Monica's chosen family in a way.
And then you have the potential for Drew Allen's biological twin who never quite fit in with the cues and is currently disgraced to just inject chaos.
Right. Jason's central role symbolizes Monica's love transcending blood ties, while Drew's potential appearance reminds the viewer and the family of their perpetual dysfunction and the complications of biology versus belonging.
That tension between, sincerity and calculated disruption, that feels like it will define the whole memorial sequence.
It's the perfect launch pad for the next phase of the storyline, isn't it? Sets everything up beautifully.
Which brings us then to the absolute centerpiece of the drama, the truly explosive shocker that really defines this deep dive, the arrival of the mystery sister, and the subsequent retcon that essentially rewrites Monica's history.
Yes, the retcon. This is where General Hospital utilizes a classic, sometimes controversial soap opera device, the retcon, retroactive continuity. Meaning they are essentially inserting a new profound piece of history into an established character's past that was never ever mentioned before. They're changing the backstory we thought we knew.
And the major confirmation we have is that One Life to Live alum, the legendary Erica Slezak, is joining the show for a short arc.
Which is huge casting news. She's iconic.
Absolutely. And she is not reprising her famous role as Victoria Lord Buchanan. She's playing a completely new, unexpected character.
And the bombshell leak.
The bombshell leak is that she is playing Monica Quartermaine's biological sister. A sister who has never, ever been seen or even hinted at in the almost 50 years Monica has been on the show.
Never. It's a complete invention. Now, for the learner, let's quickly revisit Monica's established origins, because this is important context for the retcon.
Okay.
Monica was introduced way back in 1977. She was adopted by Dr. Gail Baldwin, the iconic psychiatrist of Port Charles, who was married to Lee Baldwin. This adoption was always central to her identity, her feeling of being slightly outside the blue blood Quartermaines.
And her biological parents.
Her biological mother was a woman named Emily Adamson, who died when Monica was young. Her biological father was a doctor named David Bard. That was Monica's maiden name, Bard. So the show writers are essentially finding a way around decades of established canon by inventing this sister.
How do they explain her sudden appearance after all this time?
The suggestion seems to be that perhaps Monica reconnected with her biological family, specifically this sister later in life, but kept it entirely secret from the Quartermaines, a hidden relationship.
Which adds another layer of intrigue to Monica's character, even after her death.
Exactly.
Right.
And we don't yet know the sister's last name. Will it be Adamson, tying back to Monica's biological mother, or Bard, Monica's maiden name? That detail alone shows how meticulously the writers might be trying to tether this new character to the fragments of Monica's sort of ignored biological past.
But the main takeaway here is that this invented sister, she isn't just a random addition dropped in after Leslie Charleston's passing, is she?
No, absolutely not. That's crucial. She is seemingly the culmination of a hidden storyline that has been simmering for months now.
You're talking about the letter.
I'm talking about the letter.
Yeah.
There's a strong suggestion, a near certainty, according to the sources, that Erica Slezak's character is the author of that mysterious hidden letter that the lawyer Martin Gray found at Drew's house some time ago.
Ah, okay.
This connection, if true, proves this plot wasn't just a reaction to the real-world tragedy, but was a deeply integrated narrative strategy months in the making. They were laying the groundwork.
Let's dedicate some time to that Martin Gray sequence, because it was subtle, maybe easy to miss at the time, but it now seems absolutely vital to this current drama.
It really was a breadcrumb. Martin was house-sitting for Drew, remember?
Right.
He picked up this letter. Drew had just casually dismissed it, thought it was like children's coloring paper or some scrap. worthless.
He literally tossed it aside.
Yes. But Martin, being the meticulous, perhaps nosy lawyer that he is, glanced at it. And the source description says he looked absolutely shocked, just floored by what he read.
What was supposedly in the letter?
It's implied to contain legal or genealogical information regarding Monica, something powerful enough, apparently, to make Martin immediately rush over to the Quartermain mansion. He was trying to talk to Monica directly, presumably to warn her or get information before it was too late.
But he didn't get to see her, did he?
No, he failed. Tracy probably ran interference, citing Monica's health. And that failure is what drives the current drama. Because following that failed attempt, Martin was later seen actively questioning Yuri, the Quartermain's head of security.
About what specifically?
Asking specifically about Monica's family outside of Port Charles. He was digging for details the family didn't know. He was trying to find connections.
So he knew something was up involving Monica's hidden past.
Exactly. The fact that he was pursuing this secret family link means this invented sister isn't just a surprise guest arriving for the funeral with a claim. She is the dramatic answer to the months-long mystery hinted at by Martin Gray's shock and subsequent investigation. It raises profound questions about what secrets Monica was keeping from her adopted family in her final years.
Wow. Okay, so this raises the critical question. Why go to all this trouble? Why insert a mystery sister via a major retcon, bringing in an actress of Erica Slizak's stature, if, as reported, the sister is only scheduled for a short arc?
The answer is simple, really. It's the delivery mechanism. To ignite the mansion war with maximum prejudice. She's the fuse.
Okay, explain the explosion.
The ultimate shocker, the moment designed to drive the next, say, month of storyline, occurs during the reading of Monica's will.
After the funeral.
Presumably right after, yes. Erica Slizak, playing Monica's newly revealed biological sister, stands up and stuns every single member of the Quartermain family by announcing that Monica has left the Quartermain mansion, the entire Q estate, to her.
To the sister, not Jason, not Michael or the grandkids.
To the sister, this complete stranger, this biological link nobody knew existed.
That is a mic drop moment.
Absolutely. A betrayal from beyond the grave, potentially. And the leaked reaction of Tracy Quartermain is exactly what decades of history have prepared us for.
Let me guess. Not happy.
Understatement of the year. She is going to flip out. That's the exact phrase used. She will declare in classic furious Tracy fashion that this sister can have the house over her dead body.
Sounds about right for Tracy.
You can fully expect Tracy to immediately retain top legal counsel. This isn't just about real estate for her. It's a fight that cuts right to the heart of her longest, most bitter rivalry with Monica. This is personal, deeply personal.
To truly appreciate the intensity of Tracy's reaction, we really have to spend a moment revisiting the decades of contention over that specific house.
Yes, the history is key.
The ownership of the Q mansion has been, as the sources put it, the huge bone of contention between Monica and Tracy since, what, the 1980s?
At least. This drama really began when Monica's husband, Alan Quartermain Tracy's brother, first gave Monica the deed to the house years ago. That act essentially gave Monica, the outsider in some ways, the power to control the family residence.
And Monica knew how to use that power.
Oh, did she ever? Monica understood the power that house represented. She always treated the mansion ownership as her ultimate weapon, her leverage point within the, let's face it, eccentric Quartermain dynamics.
She wasn't shy about it.
Not at all. Monica was famously known to take great joy, as the source puts it, in flexing this power. She frequently threatened to, or actually did, toss other Quartermains out of the mansion on a whim.
And Tracy?
Tracy, who has always felt she, as Edward's daughter, deserved to be the undisputed matriarch, was the frequent target of these eviction threats. She often found herself living elsewhere, only allowed back in at Monica's sufferance, which must have grated constantly.
We can probably recall specific examples, right? Monica famously kicked out AJ, her own son, at various points.
Multiple times.
And her constant spats with Tracy over who could use which rooms or who was hosting which dinner party that defined their relationship for years.
Absolutely. The house is the physical manifestation of Monica's reign over the family. So for Tracy, the emotional weight of this will reading is immense. The idea that this outsider, this mysterious retcon sister nobody knew existed, would inherit the house instead of a core family member.
And especially instead of her.
Especially instead of her. It will be viewed as the ultimate insult. Monica's final victory from the grave, engineered to deny Tracy the one thing she coveted most. Undisputed control of the family seat.
Okay, but the source material also hints at some complexity here, right? It expresses some professional skepticism, suggesting that maybe Monica wouldn't just completely abandon her grandchildren and her adopted son, Jason.
That's true. The source suggests the will must contain some kind of strange wording or perhaps a legal loophole that enables this shocking outcome rather than just a straightforward bequest ignoring everyone else. The devil, as always in Port Charles legal matters, is likely in the details.
So let's try to analyze the family tree and the potential legal dynamics here. Who are Monica's actual heirs?
Okay. Monica's two biological children, Dawn Winthrop and A.J. Quartermain, are both deceased.
Right. AJ's death was a huge story.
Huge. And he left behind his children, Michael Corinthos, Wiley Quartermain Corinthos, and Amelia Grace Corinthos. These three grandchildren are Monica's closest remaining direct blood relatives.
Okay, blood relatives. Then you have the adopted and non-blood relatives.
Right. Jason Morgan, who was legally adopted by Monica, and Drew Kane, who is Alan's biological son, Jason's twin, but was never formally adopted by Monica. He's biologically related to Alan, but not legally Monica's son.
That separation of blood ties and legal ties feels crucial here.
It's almost certainly going to be the crux of the legal fight. The sources speculate that Jason, for instance, might have been inadvertently excluded from the latest version of Monica's will, simply because he was presumed dead for such a long period.
Ah, so she wrote him out when he was dead?
Possibly. And maybe she just never got around to updating the will after his unexpected return. That happens. Life gets in the way, even for Quartermains.
Which brings us back to the power of this retcon sister. How could she legally inherit over the others?
The potential legal loophole is incredibly strong, and frankly, dramatically perfect. What if the will specifies that the inheritance, or maybe just the mansion itself, goes to her closest surviving blood relative? If Monica had secretly reconnected with his sister, and the sister is indeed her full or half-sibling, then she is a closer blood relative than Monica's adopted son, Jason.
Closer than grandchildren.
That depends entirely on the specific wording. Maybe it says closest adult blood relative, which would exclude the minor grandchildren, Wiley and Amelia. Or perhaps there's a clause about maintaining a relationship, which the sister supposedly did secretly. If the will is worded precisely to favor blood over adoption, or even over grandchildren, depending on clauses,
Then the sister has a legitimate claim based on Monica's own wishes, as written.
exactly. This strategy is brilliant soap writing because it uses technical legality, the specifics of inheritance law, the definition of relative to manufacture maximum drama and conflict for Tracy. Tracy won't just be fighting the sister. She'll be fighting the very legal structure Monica potentially put in place, specifically to spite her one last time.
That's why this entire plot is viewed by insiders not just as a shocker, but as a strategic masterpiece.
It really is. It's framed as an emotional homage to Monica's character, precisely because it is engineered to reopen that specific long-standing old wound, the mansion's ownership, which defined her complicated relationship with Tracy for decades. Monica's final act, even from the grave, is to cause maximum family discord over that house.
It absolutely guarantees huge dramatic payoffs across the board, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. The internal expectation, according to the leaks, is that this house drama, the initial shock of the will reading, Tracy's immediate legal fury, the investigation into the sister's legitimacy, maybe Jason's reaction, will last for a few weeks.
Just a few weeks. Seems like it could go longer.
Well, the initial intense phase, it provides excellent conflict and screen time for the central players right away, especially Tracy and Jason. It perfectly leverages decades of established family animosity to generate immediate high-stakes viewing. Where it goes after that initial period might depend on audience reaction.
And of course, in any Quartermain legal battle, the lawyers are going to be central figures.
Always. And we have some delicious speculation on that front.
Regarding Martin Gray.
Regarding Martin Gray, there's speculation that Martin might offer to represent Monica's sister.
Why would he do that? Just because he found the letter?
Not necessarily because he believes 100% in the validity of her claim, although the letter might convince him, but because, as our source highlights, he despises Tracy.
Ah, the personal angle.
Exactly. That adds this wonderful layer of delicious personal vengeance to the legal battle. Martin, who has frequently been frustrated, dismissed, maybe even humiliated by the high-handed Tracy Quartermain.
He'd relish the chance to take her down a peg.
Wouldn't he just? Him representing this total outsider, this mystery sister, against Tracy for control of the ancestral Quartermain home. That would be a fantastic twist. It turns what could be a dry legal dispute into a personal revenge quest against the woman who has consistently gotten under his skin.
Okay, so the battle lines are drawn. What about the ultimate outcome? The future of the estate itself is certainly the biggest outstanding question here.
It really is. The source material does express a kind of hope, maybe an assumption, that the estate ultimately stays within the Quartermain family somehow. This is partly based on the information that the sister, Erica Slezak's character, is supposedly joining only for a short arc.
So if she leaves, she can't keep the house indefinitely.
Right. If she leaves Port Charles after her arc concludes, the writers will have to figure out a resolution. Perhaps Tracy manages to buy her out after a bitter fight. Or maybe Martin finds a flaw in the will, or Jason steps in. The will gets overturned somehow, allowing the mansion to revert to, say, the grandchildren. Or maybe even Jason, if the adoption holds legal precedence.
But there's always a variable in soaps, isn't there?
Always. We absolutely must consider the possibility that if Erica Slezak's performance is a massive hit, if this character and this storyline really resonate with viewers,
The writers might change their minds.
they might absolutely change their minds. They could extend her arc, or even decide to keep her on permanently. And that would truly rewrite the Quartermain family dynamic for the next generation of the show. A permanent, previously unknown Quartermain blood relative in the mix. That changes everything.
So the short arc isn't set in stone.
Never is, in soaps. But what is certain is that the initial drama surrounding Tracy's volcanic reaction and the subsequent legal maneuvers likely involving Martin will be epic. This whole plot twist allows the show to say a necessary, respectful goodbye to Leslie Charleson while ensuring Monica's character legacy is one of stirring up maximum family trouble until the very last moment. It's very fitting, in a way.
So if we pull back and look at the big picture, what does this entire intricate plot really mean for the future of Port Charles? For the show itself?
Well, we've tracked this whole narrative arc, haven't we? From the inherent sadness of Leslie Charleson's farewell all the way to this massive, complicated legal feud that's driven by decades of shared family history and, crucially, a sudden, entirely retconned family member.
It's quite a journey.
It really is, and it's a powerful testament, I think, to Monica Quartermain's enduring presence on the show, that the writers would mobilize such a grand, multi-layered strategy to ensure her exit causes such significant upheaval. It truly honors her character's long-standing legacy of drama, of feuding, and of fiercely protecting her chosen family.
Even if that protection now manifests as dropping a legal grenade into the middle of the living room?
Precisely. It's perfectly Quartermain.
The genius of it, then, seems truly multifaceted. They address the real-world exit respectfully.
Yes, paramount.
They leverage it to reignite the single greatest, longest-running feud in Quartermain history, Monica versus Tracy over that house.
The core conflict.
And they introduce a high-profile guest star, Erica Slezak, to inject immediate vitality and intrigue into the proceedings.
Creates instant buzz.
It really feels like a clean break from the past, designed specifically to generate months of compelling content moving forward.
I agree. And that leads us to a crucial, final, provocative thought. Something for you, the learner, to maybe explore on your own after this.
Okay, let's hear it.
This entire dramatic inheritance battle, the engine driving the next few months of plot, it hinges entirely on a sister who has been inserted into Monica's history through retroactive continuity, through a retcon.
A character who didn't exist last year.
Exactly. So consider this. How does the sudden appearance of a previously unknown but apparently legitimate blood tie fundamentally challenge and maybe rewrite the established idea of what family even means to the Quartermains? This is a family built historically, not really on blood, but often on, well, eccentric love, on strategic adoption, on turbulent finances and power plays.
Blood hasn't always been the most important factor for them. Look at Jason.
Precisely. So does this retcon sister plot signal a potential new direction for General Hospital? Does it show that maybe classic long-running shows sometimes feel they must sacrifice decades of established canon, decades of what we thought we knew, in order to achieve maximum compelling dramatic upheaval today?
That tension. The established bonds versus this newly introduced blood tie.
That tension is exactly what will define the next chapter of the Q dynasty. It forces everyone, characters and viewers alike, to ask, what truly makes a Quartermain?